Hello and welcome to another edition of Jaime's Take. I'm going to go over this time the latest rental statistics that we have. We do now have the July. Sorry, I'm a little late. I'm a bit behind schedule here, but I wanted to share them with you today because I think there might be some good news in the market for the renter. At least the tides may be turning. So it turns out that the median rental rate has maintained finally and not gone up for a consecutive month yet again. The median rent in New York City has plateaued at $42.50 per month. This could be a sign that we are plateauing out, and while it's still good for landlords, that is a chance for the renters to see a stopping in the increase of the median rent going up. The question here is how long are people going to withstand that with the great amenities and everything there is in New York City? How long are people willing to continue to pay those prices? So we might have plateaued. This could be a blip, or maybe we're finally going to slide down. And I'd like to show you the July data that came in on the Corcoran report, which I'm happy to share with anybody who asks for it. I can provide it as a link. So let's take a moment to look at the data and check out the differences from the month prior in June. So if we have a look here, we can see that the number of leases signed this month is a slight decrease by 7% over the month prior. Last month there was, in June, 4,875. So this is a decrease of 7% since the previous month. It is a modest decrease. Last year leases were at a record high level, nearly. But this is going to show you here that the median rent is plateaued at $42.50. Right, and in doorman building, that median rent is of course higher at $49. We're going to point out here that I do believe that a lot of the cheapest apartments out there are all gone, and once again we're stuck looking at a high number, right? If you're going to lay out a whole bunch of rents in a row and pick the median, which is in the middle, if there's very few small numbers, you're going to get a higher number. Same thing with average rent. If you're going to take the average of a bunch of high numbers, you're still going to get a high number. The average rent by bedroom for a one bedroom is $4,400. All right, so the number of active listings this month is 5,346, which is a slight increase from June. It's kind of odd to see an increase in the number of active listings in the months of June and July, but that's what's been happening, although very modest. Visible vacancy also hand in hand with that. It went up by 0.06, and that's been going on for 2 months in a row. It's a very small increase, but it's an interesting sign. The days on market actually went up by 4, and that matters in condos and co-ops to a certain extent. But what I want to point out here is the number of leases signed by neighborhood, as well as the vacancy by neighborhood matters. So if you are hunting for an apartment right now, if we scroll down to the vacancy by neighborhood, I would say that one of your best places to go would be Midtown East. Now that is actually an increase of 0.5% since the month of July. All right, and the areas where vacancy increased would be the Upper West Side, Midtown East, Midtown West. Soho stayed the same. There was a decrease in the financial district. So your best bets, of course, are those with the highest numbers. Now, in terms of what on a daily basis and in my interactions with my clients, is that competition is still extremely fierce. If there's an open house, there's a line somewhere between 10 to 20 people often lined up at open houses. This is still a very difficult time to get an apartment here in the New York City. Those low priced ones are very difficult and hard to find. I would say something at $19.50 to $2,000. I see just a few of them a week. There's a lot of immediate listings, but there are also some of them that are for further out, indicating that landlords are not getting that rent level from the previous tenant and they're already marketing the apartment early. Bidding is rampant, lineups are rampant, and there has not really been, at the street view, a huge increase, a huge improvement since the previous months. But I'm hoping that this data that is showing us that we're reaching a plateau here. There is a notion that agents love this type of climate, which is really incorrect. I don't think we're enjoying this at all. Vacancy rates of 2% mean that agents are getting very few exclusive listings, and that means they're going to operate those listings at the highest potential for earnings as well, given that there's few to be had. And so do expect to see 15% across the board no matter what, whether it's condo, co-op, which it always is, and in your basic rental market you're going to see that as well. I would recommend an opportunity to speak with a real estate agent at any chance you can get, and I'm always open to do that. If you have specific problems or examples to discuss where you're looking for an apartment, you can always reach out to me. I'd love to be of help. I hope you've taken away something from this month's data. That Midtown East and the Upper West Side are presenting opportunities for rentals. Do reach out to me. I'd love to see your comments and questions in the comments section below.